RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, where's my button? All right, nice to see you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm sorry, I have to apologize right out of the gate because last time I was listening to the show because I was trying to cut some clips and I realized I was hitting the microphone a lot. I guess I'm not used to this microphone, so I hope it wasn't too annoying. It's very difficult for me to hear myself properly. So, okay. Just saying that. Hopefully, you forgive me, and I'll try to get better. I'll just try. That's all we can do. How's it sounding out there in TV land? I see JD in the chat. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Ed the second in the chat. I'm sure more of our Tarabuster community will show up. Thank you. All right, Ed says it sounds good. Nice to see. But all right, let me see. Current streams bitrate is lower than recommended. I don't know what to do about that, except not have Spectrum anymore. But that's not happening today. Okay, let's see. Where do we even begin? My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out. This is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. I'm standing up tonight on my standing desk because my ass hurts from sitting in the chair. And, so there you go, in case you had any questions. What else? Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for all you do to make the world a better place, for all you do to support the show, for everything. Your encouragement, kind words, I hear you. Your love of animals, it means a lot, and it does matter. We were commiserating about a similar frustration recently, and I have to say, it matters. It matters. Not the the frustrations matter, but it matters to continue to, because we were discussing how frustrating it is being, doing a liberal show. And I have to tell you a story, actually. And and this is the story I actually emailed Charlie about. So, okay, this is what we're up against. So we don't have big billionaire benefactors. So I want to thank the patrons, at patreon.com/Tara Devlin, and everyone who supports the show, like JD, who's not even from this country. So thank you, JD, and Ed. Thank you, for all you do to keep the show going and growing. But so, and my frustrations in general with Twitter. I really did like Twitter back in the day, and that's why I wish Threads would catch up and become Twitter, because Twitter is a cesspool. It's infested with Nazis. It's infested with bots. It's a horror show. It's horrible. It's filled with horrible people now who are unleashed to be disgusting. And more disgusting as they were trying to, I guess, maybe hide it. That's why they were so, triggered by anyone who would dare try, expect them to be human or act human, act normal, just be a nice person, be respectful, and if you can't, just shut your mouth, right? And mind your own business, like Wall says. So, but anyway, whatever. So cesspool's a Twitter's a shit show. And Elon Musk is a very disgusting person. He's not a genius, as we know. We've done that story numerous times. He's a horrible person. And like all right-wingers, of course, his hypocrisy is bottomless. He talks about being a free speech absolutist. And he's nothing of the sort. He is a tyrant, like all right-wingers. They're not talking about free speech or freedom. When they talk about freedom, they talk about the freedom to destroy, or freedom to tell you what to do, freedom to invade your privacy. And they don't know how to mind their own business. And thank you, John, for your super chat right out of the gate. I love it. Tell your friends about the show. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. So work it. You're worth it. And I'll try to do more shows. We always do our our Friday show, but I realize, it's really tough not doing a weekday show. I have to do more content. That's the bottom line. I need to do shorter show. I've been watching, Jeff Waldorf. He's been on the show before, and he's a great guy. He's awesome. But, he does like little commentaries throughout the day. I should probably do something like that too, just to get more content. And that helps. All right, I'm off on a tangent, but and I'm really grateful for Hernan, who does our videos here. Thank God for Hernan, who was on loan really from Mike Malloy. Mike is the one who sent Hernan my way. So God, and he's so talented, and not even an American either. So another person who cares about this country more than a lot of people in this country do, right? It's crazy. So, all right, what was I saying? So this is the frustration of being in the liberal media. Now, we already know that the Facebook, for example, and other social media outlets, specifically Facebook, I should say, I know for a fact, they've said they are like, what do you call it? Suppressing political content. Okay, in general, they're suppressing political content. It's quite the opposite on Elon Musk's Twitter. They're not suppressing right-wing content. They're suppressing liberal content. That's what he's doing, and they're amplifying conservatives. And these conservatives, not just me talking here, we have the Department of Homeland Security, as we know, and the FBI revealing and releasing the fact that these right-wingers are being paid by the Kremlin, So there you go. When your vision and your whatever, when your content aligns with the things that the Kremlin wants to pay you to amplify, you might want to rethink your whole worldview. You're on the wrong side, okay? And thank you, Ed. It's looking very colorful in the super chat. Thank you so much, Ed, for your super chat. Buy the kitties some food. I will. And they're very annoying, I have to say, because, I don't know. I told you guys, Boudica, she's got a sensitive stomach. She vomits a lot. I took her to the doctor. She's fine, but she's very picky. They're all picky. I don't know what to do with them. They'll eat the same thing, and then they'll all turn their nose up at it at the same time. It's very frustrating. And thank you, Jim, for your super chat. And also for being a moderator, because I can't do it without you, man. We got trolls coming sometimes, but yes. All right. Hi, Kathy. See, the shows, we're getting our groove on today. I like doing shows during the week, too, because we can be, it's just more loosey-goosey. It's more, I don't have to worry about the clock as much, because I don't have to time it for Progressive Voices. But all right, so to get to the point of the story was what I was telling Charlie from APS Radio News is that this is what I had to shut off my notifications for Twitter because I always had them on, and I don't know if you have the same experience. I know I'm not alone because I saw David Hogg tweet something that he noticed all of the sudden since Elon Musk bought Twitter that his timeline and his news feed is filled with right-wingers that he doesn't follow. And I had and am having and had the same experience. I don't follow the murderer Kyle Rittenhouse. If I wanted to hear what that fucking little twit had to say, that murdering little prick, fake crying sociopath, evil, had to say, I would go and look. I would seek it out. I'd search it, and okay, that's what he said. If he had ever said anything notable, it would only be something probably horrendous that we were pointing out. So I don't follow him, and others, Donald Trump Jr. And I'm talking about these fucking things would pop up on my phone when the phone was locked in my lock screen. I'd be laying in bed with just trying to relax and unwind, trying to fall asleep, and ding ding, and I look at my phone, and there's fucking Donald Trump Jr. popping up on my locked screen. I don't follow him. You understand? That's why it's completely suspicious, of course. But we all know what Elon Musk is doing. That's what he's doing. What he does. Republicans are bottomless hypocrites. They know no boundaries. And what did it for me? When I finally, I just shut off all my notifications. Because I was like, I mute these fucking people too, and they still come through. Donald Trump Jr., Lindsey Graham, like people, I don't care. I don't want to hear you. I hear you enough, and this is the problem. They are too amplified in this goddamn country, and that's the problem. Because, and we'll get to it, because we're going to talk about the debate. And I want to talk about the filing that just dropped. Thank you, Jack Smith. At least somebody's fucking doing something. But he's up against the illegitimate and corrupt Supreme Court and the illegitimate and corrupt any judge, like Judge Cannon, that Traitor Trump put in place despite receiving fewer votes, and who are there to do his bidding. These shameless corruptors of this country. And it's laid out right there yet again what Trump was up to January 6th and before, so when he lost the election. Oh, sorry, Booby. They had to ease him into the knowledge that he lost. I mean, like a fucking 2-year-old. I'm sorry, you can't have your dolly right now. Okay. Anyway, so to get back to the Twitter just to wrap it up, what did it for me? And that something is, well, this is just what Elon Musk is up to. Was that I'm sitting there, fucking lock screen, and bing bing comes up on my phone. There's some maggot bitch who I have no clue who the fuck this person is. She's just some random maggot with and I look at her, who is this person? She's with 100 followers. Why am I getting this person on my phone popping up on the lock screen of my phone as a notification? I don't follow this person. I don't know this person. I never interacted with her. She's got 100 followers, and God knows she might even be a bot, because this is what they do. We know that, as the Department of Homeland Security's told us, these Russian bots are all over man-child Musk's Twitter fucking cesspool, Nazi cesspool. So anyway, then I was like, you know what? Fuck this. It's not worth my aggravation. And it's what is the value of this platform anymore? I'm not getting any news like I used to, because that's what it used to be. There were standards. You would somewhat be able to trust that the filth would sink to the bottom. And because here's what the Republicans, and we'll get into it. I guess we could start with the debate, but the lies. So all over Twitter too, because I do look at Twitter to see what's trending. That's why I hope that Threads can catch up to this, because it's very convenient to open up Twitter and just look and see right now what's happening. You know what I mean? Like what's going on, without having to go all different places. But yeah, so I don't know, this, okay, where do we begin? So J.D. Vance and Tim Walz had a debate last. It was kind of annoying, to tell you the truth. Walz did okay, fine, but I don't understand why he felt the need to continuously say how much he agreed with the fucking shillbilly, the lying shillbilly. Why would he have to? I just don't get it. Why? Why do you? Because you know what the J.D. Vance was there to do? I mean, first of all, he's only there because Traitor Trump sent a mob to try to hang his vice president when the vice president wouldn't do what Traitor Trump wanted him to do, which was against the Constitution. And I know that the Republicans, they love throwing the Constitution around. They say the Constitution, he should have done, it's in the Constitution. It's not, and this is what you see on social media, these Republicans saying that thank God J.D. Vance will follow the Constitution. And what fucking Constitution are they reading? Because the vice president has no role in certifying electors. It's a ceremonial role. The vice president and the president have no role in deciding who the next president is. And that's exactly what it says in Jack Smith's filing. In what world would that be okay? In the maggot world, in the Project 2025 world. So they like to throw around, it's in the Constitution. What part of the Constitution? Point it out to us, please. But of course not. They're full of shit. Republicans hate the Constitution as much as they hate democracy. And it's evident in that filing too. But it's also evident what their loathing of this country was evident in J.D. Vance's performance last night. He was there to make Traitor Trump seem reasonable. Okay? And for the life of me, I don't understand why Tim Walz had to I guess, is that a strategy to be nice, to Midwestern nice or whatever? You could be nice and also be assertive and strong and not be like, well, I agree with you. What are you fucking agreeing with? You know, what is he agreeing with? The lies that, everything that came out of J.D. Vance's mouth was calculated. Now, he's very polished. He's very slick. He's like Damien. In fact, I was texting and messaging back and forth with one of our supporters, Joey and Jeffrey, his sidekick, Jeffrey the giraffe. And we were saying, and I was saying, he looks like, what he reminded me of is Damien, He looks like the Omen, Damien from the Omen, the demon, the devil himself, grown up. And his eyes are dead. I don't care. You could put as much eyeliner on those eyes as you want, but he had dead eyes staring at you. And you have to have dead eyes. The way he manipulates his family. Oh, my mom, my Meemaw. Who fucking says Meemaw? And Pawpaw, my Pawpaw and Meemaw. It sounds so phony. And then he actually said something about his kids. Yes, my kids, who I love very much. My children or something like that. My children. I have 3 rambunctious boys, and I hope you're in bed, children. I love you very much. It felt fake. You love them very much. Okay. I believe it. Do I believe that? I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with his wife to be with a sociopath. There's something wrong with her too, because think about this. He's never been whatever. He is what he is. He's a scumbag. He went to Yale. He's not, he wrote this book, this showbilly book, disparaging his family, really, and he left it all behind. Whatever. He didn't live there. Whatever. He fucked off. He went to Yale. He lived in San Francisco, and he met Peter Thiel, who funded his entire political career. Now, he's only a second-year senator. Now, this piece of shit, just like the rest of the Republicans who think that they think it doesn't take any experience. No, if you're a Democrat, excuse me, let me roll that back. If you're a Democrat, you have to have a resume, that would rival any elite club. You have to be, according to them, Harris is not qualified. I just find that incredible. She's only the vice president of the United States. She was a senator for years. She's attorney general. She's, she's got cred. So, and she knows what the fuck she's doing. But a tax cheating, draft dodging, wannabe dictator, serial bankrupt con man with a fake university and a fake multi-level marketing vitamin scam and a history of sexual assault. Oh, he's our guy. It doesn't matter. If you're a Republican, you don't need to have any expertise at all. But Peter Thiel is a filthy person, okay? Now, he's somebody, a fascist. He's a filthy fascist who openly, this is not, they're not hiding it anymore, openly said that he no longer believed in democracy. So this is what they're up to. That's Project 2025. They want an authoritarian country like Hungary. That's what they want. They're saying it. It's right out in the open. They're not hiding the fact. I mean, they're having their conventions in Hungary. They're asking, they invite Viktor Orban to speak to them, to talk about how he turned a democracy into a illiberal democracy. That's what they call it, an illiberal democracy, meaning you're under the control of the big daddy, the autocrat that good luck trying to get him out of office. This is like Putin, so-called President Putin, who they changed the constitution in Russia to ensure that he will never leave power. These are not presidents. These are kings. These are dictators. And yes, we have to get over our aversion to dictators. Ed on the chat says, who said that? Let me see. Now that you're saying that, let me look this up. You could probably post it. Who said that? Who said that? I'm asking the machine here. We have to get over our aversion to dictators. That is a quote from who? Write it down in the chat because I can't find it. I heard that, but I can't remember who said it. Thank God I have the producers in the chat. Bannon. Did Bannon say that? I'm looking this up. I'm asking the AI. Let's see. Who said? Yeah, that is a quote though. I heard that. Well, let me see. Who said we have to get over our aversion to dictators? Oh, I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, no, it's saying I can't find any direct quote stating we have to get over our aversion to dictators. But it says, however, search results do contains relevant information about attitudes towards dictators and diplomacy with authoritarian leaders. Okay. Well, I don't know where that came from, but somebody will get to the bottom of it. So, and let me know. Okay, so with J.D. Vance, this is his resume, is that he hooked up with a right-wing billionaire who funded his rise to power. Now, Thiel is a disgusting, America-hating, democracy-loathing billionaire who, billionaires shouldn't exist. But okay, and they started this venture capital firm, and one of their acquisitions is the site Rumble. And for those who don't know Rumble, it's a place where Nazis go because they can't post they can post on Twitter, but they can't post on YouTube. So it's a Nazi haven, and it's a place where all the right wingers can go and circle jerk each other off about how victimized they are and how much everybody's picking on them. Now, if you saw during the debate, this is what really irritated me. Yes, I mean, Walz did fine, but why was he so agreeable to this fascist? And the moderators were saying, it really irritated me too, because they asked Walz about him saying that he was in Tiananmen Square during the democracy protest. Who cares? Who fucking cares? He said he was there. during the uprisings, whatever. He's talking about the 80s. Did you hear that Traitor Trump says we need 1 day of violence in the country? I mean, this is where he. I mean, like, why can't I talk? This is where is that even a proper sentence? Where we're at? I can't say it. But this is what we're dealing with. That's better. That's a better way to say it. We have to. We need 1 night of violence because he watched the fucking Purge. That's what happened. This is a very dull person. He's an ignoramus. And it's disgusting that these maggots are treated as if they're normal, decent people. But that's what J.D. Vance's role is. And the fact that he was, I'm a never Trump guy. He's America's Hitler. He's cultural heroin. And yet now he's the running. Oh, I saw the light. What did you saw shit. You saw power. You saw a pathway to power. You saw 1 million corpses. The worst jobs record since Herbert Hoover. You saw what? Injecting bleach. You saw Helsinki. You saw what? Family separation, kids being ripped from their mother's arms. The attempt to repeal Obamacare again and again and again. Now, and think about this, and then we'll get to that too, because the lie, the revisionist history that these Republicans have, it's only because they count on the stupidity of the people who vote for them. That these are the people that are watching Rumble. That's all they do. They watch Rumble. They watch Fox News. They watch, Tim Pool, funded by the Kremlin, and they get their daily dose of hate, their daily dose of hate America, of faux rage, of hate their fellow American. And there you go. And that's why that somebody like J.D. Vance can lie so, he's a slick bastard, He's slick, he's evil, he's got dead eyes, and then, you notice the little tricks, looking at the camera. Because this is their practice. He's practiced and polished in the lies. And he's got no integrity. They have no honor. They have no ideas. Wait, hold on. I have to take a drink. So, yeah. And I don't know what Waltz was saying. He agrees with him. Whoa. But this is where we part ways with January 6th. But okay, so, but what was I going to say? As far as his wife, J.D. Vance's wife, now imagine you're with somebody and they're, whatever, let's pretend they're in love. And you like your husband as one person. You like the guy that says Trump is a traitor, a cultural heroine, who sees reality and isn't afraid to embrace it, right? Or whatever. But he's always been a right-winger. He's not J.D. Vance is not some, liberal, even though he was a liberal darling for writing that underwhelming book that all liberals read because they felt some kind of guilt, I guess. I don't know, that they have to... We're always trying to tap into the white working class Republican. And let me tap into it for everybody right now, and we can put this shit to rest. The reason these people vote against their own demise, the reason these white, poor white, the working poor Republican is a Republican is because of propaganda. That's it. I cracked the code. It's because of the Telecommunications Act of 96 that created these silos of information. Now, these people have always been racist. They live in their little bubbles, their communities. They never, they don't know shit. They don't live like I live in Queens, which is called the world's borough, meaning, we are the most culturally diverse neighborhoods. well, Astoria particularly, is, according to the census, the most culturally diverse neighborhood in the entire country. You know, that's why it's called the world's borough. I mean, Traitor Trump was from here too, so it takes all types. You know, we have racists here too, but for the most part, you know, if you're a racist, you shut your mouth. You go on Citizen app, you know, and go deport them now 10 times in all caps, behind the veil of anonymity. But you know, you keep it to yourself, I guess, under wraps. But as far as J.D. Vance and his wife, you know, with, you know, imagine, I mean, what's wrong with her? That's what I have to say. It's sort of like Ted Cruz and his wife, that you're with somebody and they, you know, how can you suddenly be okay with him being America's Hitler's running mate? Unless you're just as disgusting as he is. So I guess that's it. It's like Melania. We did the show. We talked about her last time. How there used to be this canard that, oh, free Melania. Like she was some kind of victim. She's not a victim. She sucks too. She's horrible too. Ted Cruz's wife, same thing. If you have no integrity, you know, that's it. You know, like if you're somebody that doesn't care that Traitor Trump, that somebody vying to be the so-called president, and then became the so-called president, called you ugly in front of the whole world, made a meme and everything too, where he put his trophy wife number 3 and your picture next to each other and said something, you know, disgustingly misogynist and juvenile as usual. And you're fine with that? You know, that's not a deal breaker. Yeah, then your husband, this asshole, this fucking traitorous asshole comes home. You know, Ted Cruz is horrible. Is he going to lose the election, I hope? Please. But he comes home and you're just like, hi, you know, you share my bed? Get the fuck out of here. You know, isn't that enough? How much do you have to hate yourself to be cool with the fact that your husband is, you know, just some con man's bitch who insulted you in such a childish way, calling you ugly? I mean, this is who they are. That's all they have, are these juvenile taunts. Ugh, I remember I called them sophomoric once. I was talking with Robin. I think we might have been on doing a show or something. And Robin Kincaid from Head On. And she's like, they're not sophomoric. That's giving them a promotion. They're juvenile. Yeah, absolutely. They're disgusting. It's like the wait, hold on. I don't know. I gotta stop drinking coffee from sun up to sundown and every hour in between. No, it's fine. See how I talk myself back into it? So pardon me. Maybe I need to get one of those buttons. But the long-suffering Tarabuster community understands. I better breathe. Yeah, they're all as bad. They're just as bad. They're bad. Ed on the chat, she's just as bad as melatonin. Exactly. Talking about, you know, they're all bad. They all must have something missing in their souls. Like, imagine that's your partner. Let's say, you know, J.D. Vance. He's up there at the VP debate with the who wants to be the vice president, despite the fact he's only been in the fucking government for 2 years, and his claim to fame is being the pet of a billionaire. You know, that's the new American dream for this Republican Party. It's the Republican dream, that's for sure. Become a pet of a billionaire. You know, from Tim Pool to goddamn Brett Kavanaugh, J.D. Vance, Uncle Clarence Thomas. Find yourself a billionaire. All you gotta be is a scumbag with no integrity who hates America. Wait, hold on. Boudica's doing something. She's playing with a string. She's a genius. She's so cute. I thought she was bothering Spooky. I have Spooky here. Let me see. Can I hook it up to show you? I wonder. Oh, I don't have my phone. My other phone. Anyway, all right. Where do we begin? With this, with the lies? So many lies. So let me see. It's 9:30 now. We'll do a show. It'll be like a 2-hour show, I figure. Or until my voice gives out completely. I'm just warning you all, because we'll do the debate, some of the debate, and that's it. What we need to do. I mean, it's. What happened? My YouTube just crashed. Are we still up? All of a sudden it went. It just went to like like when it goes gray. But that's fine. Thank God. Thank God. At least it's not the Progressive Voices night. But all right, where do we begin? Let me see. JD Vance. Let me get some of I got some clips here. We're talking here. Okay, where to start? And plus he's such a fucking phony too. When Walls mentioned that his son had experienced a shooter, I don't know if it was a mass shooter or a shooter in his school, and JD Vance is like, Jesus, what did he say? Christ have mercy. Fuck you. How's that? Christ have mercy. Christ have mercy on the children. Christ have mercy on you, honey, and the Republican Party that stand in the way of actual change that will save lives of not just children, of others. We like to go to a supermarket. We want to go to school. We want to send kids to school without worrying that they're going to come home in body bags because of Republican policies. But in case you haven't noticed, everything they touch, they turn to shit. And this is what's getting on my nerves, the whole debate. That in case you didn't notice, they take credit for the very things that they are opposed to. Now let's start with, for example, I mean, we'll go to the healthcare part, but the fact that he kept, I don't know if I have a clip of this, but JD Vance kept bringing up this, Traitor Trump supposedly had this amazing economy, even though it was the worst jobs record since Herbert Hoover, and not factoring in the pandemic. When you take out the pandemic made it worse. But okay, that's the revisionist history. And this is what I wish Walls had said. Vance kept bringing up that under Donald Trump, wages rose or whatever, at record highs, and more take-home pay. Now, there we go again, Republicans. And I wish that Walls had said this, but the reason wages went up under Traitor Trump's administration was because states were passing minimum wage laws. All over the country, blue states were passing $15 minimum wage laws in spite of Republican opposition. Anybody remember that? But there you go again, Republicans, taking credit for the very things that they are opposed to, that they fight tooth and nail against. I love it, though. I love the way that they do that. But the fact is, nobody calls them out. Not the moderator, not Walls. What's he supposed to do? I guess you're supposed to go to some fucking QR code, even though I'm sure the QR code, I didn't go on the QR code, but I'm sure it didn't have that little ditty in there. But that's what Republicans do. They're really adept at taking credit for the things that they are opposed to, because they don't do shit for the American people. Wages went up because of exactly what I'm saying. That's not a debate. And I wish if Walls had, if he was listening to me, would say, well, what policies in particular made wages go up? Yeah, I'm sure he would say, well, the tax breaks, or because that's all he did. All they did was make income disparity and upward immobility worse and cut people's lifelines. In fact, everywhere Trump had the ability to cut the wages of the American people, he did. He made it harder for federal workers to qualify for overtime. He recategorized federal workers, because those are the ones he had control over. He recategorized them as managers, so many of them would no longer qualify for overtime. But, they still had the same jobs that they used to do and have overtime. Now he wants to say, oh, no taxes on overtime? You get overtime. You get no taxes. You get no taxes. Well, what the fuck? Why didn't you do it in your tax scam bill? J.D. Vance keeps saying, Kamala Harris, why isn't she doing it? She's the vice president. Again, the disingenuousness of that, the fact that J.D. Vance kept just talking about how, why isn't she doing it? Kamala Harris waves a magic wand, he said at one point. This is all the result of Kamala Harris policies. She's the fucking vice president. And I'm sure you saw there was a viral video of a comment, a young person that was watching the debate with MSNBC, and he made a very astute observation. I was glad that he did, saying that obviously J.D. Vance needs to take a civics class, because the fucking vice president is not the president, and she's not in the Senate, and the Senate, they're just one of, a few or whatever. There's a finite number of them that have to vote. Same thing in the House. And, she doesn't fucking decree laws, you see, but this is what goes on Rumble and in the right-wing cesspools. They don't know shit about governance. That's why they want Big Daddy to go booga 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 and make everything, build a wall and kill and deport everybody who they hate, regardless if they're legal or not, here illegally or not. And we saw during the debate when J.D. Vance he got upset and started mansplaining to the moderators, mansplaining some laws to them, that he got upset that they fact-checked him, that because he was calling the immigrants in his community that he pretends to represent, the Springfield community, that he is that he's terrorizing. He's a domestic terrorist, terrorizing and harming the people he supposedly represents, but he was calling the Haitian immigrants illegals. They're not illegal. They're not motherfucking excuse me, I don't want to curse that much, but okay, whatever. They're not illegal. They're here legally. And that's why I can't stand Republicans. Besides everything else, we hear all the time how they go on about, we're not against immigration. We're just against illegal immigration. Well, who's for illegal immigration? Nobody. But they don't get votes telling the truth. They don't get votes solving problems or doing what they're supposed to do. Like building a bipartisan coalition, like what happened with this bill that the border police wanted, that conservatives wanted. They said it was that this is an opportunity that we're not going to get again. You need to pass this bill, and this is ridiculous. And we all know that Republicans don't want to solve real problems, as that immigration bill is testament to. They really they're really good at going after the fake problems America faces, the problems that they create, like immigrants eating cats and dogs, right? They go after that. They go after, the thing he was trying to both sides, or what about, I should say. He was using the whataboutism a lot. And January 6th, when they brought up January 6th, he's trying to conflate the attempted overthrow of the elected president, Joe Biden. He's trying to conflate that with some bullshit right-wing fever dream conspiracy that they're being censored on social media if they can't spread misinformation, if they can't spread COVID misinformation, and in the middle of a pandemic that is, we're dying. There are fucking refrigerated morgues on the street, and they don't feel free unless they can spread divisive misinformation that is literally killing people. But okay, that's what they think is did Kamala Harris censor right-wingers? Like she's in their mind. Is this for real? I mean, that was so ridiculous. How and I'm sure they're gonna use it on Saturday Night Live. It's hard to say that altogether. That everything was Harris's fault. It's all Harris's fault. It's Kamala Harris did this. Kamala Harris. It's all Harris's fault, and it's all immigration, right? It's immigrants. Immigrants are causing house prices to go way up, right? And everything was the fault of immigrants. It's just so fucked up. This is a nation of immigrants. And that's why I say, when, I say Republicans hate America, I'm not just being hyperbolic. It's not just, harsh rhetoric, inflammatory rhetoric. It is a factual observation. They don't like the very essence of this country, as evidence, as illustrated by the fact that they're trying to overthrow our very system of government, the constitutionally limited democratic republic. They don't like it. They don't like that we're a nation of immigrants. Yes, we are. That's the fucking truth. It's the way it is. Unless you're a Native American, your ancestors came from somewhere else. We are a nation of immigrants. It is inescapable. That's the way it is. They don't like that. They don't see diversity as a strength. They see it as a threat, I guess. I don't know what. I mean, a threat to who? To their fragile, petty, childish, small selves? And that's why, I say all the time, it takes maturity. It takes a level of maturity. You don't have to be like we're all at different levels, but it takes just the slightest, a minimal level of maturity to be able to function in a free democratic society. They're just not raised right, I guess. And that's why they want to fucking shove this country over a cliff, just like, they want to shove Granny over a cliff on Medicare. Take their Medicare. All right. And Obamacare. Now, as we notice, okay, with J.D. Vance, another thing, when they were talking about health care. Wait, hold on. Let me get this clip. Going on about health care. And we've been saying this for years on the show. And actually, let's play the clip because it'll make more sense. Because they're discussing housing and health care. Let's see. Is this the one? Let's see.
Can make sure that the government's there to help kickstart it, create create that base.
Governor, your time is up. Senator Vance, as far as your campaign's position, the promise is to seize federal lands to build homes, remove regulation, provide tax breaks, and cut back on immigration.
Tax breaks, remove regulate. It's the same fucking thing all the time. That's all they got. Same remedy. Because they don't want remedies. They don't want actual remedies. They are ideologues. They're cultists. You know, it's like everything is, it's like if you're a Scientologist, right? It's a cult. And what's their remedy? They don't believe in medication. They don't believe in doctors. They use those auditing cans. Like everything's an audit. That's all you need. More, hold those stupid cans. And that's the same thing. Because they're not actually trying to solve problems. You know, you can't solve every problem with a tax break for the 1% or deregulation. And Walz made a good point where he says, well, you know, I hope the house I live in, or however he put it, actually might be in this clip, it will, is fire, resistant. And that's the other thing. You know, like I live in an apartment building. These buildings, and rightfully so, they're heavily regulated. That's why when you have construction, when you want to put on something on the side of your house or whatever you might do, you'll be like, oh, that's my fucking house. Well, maybe not. Maybe not in the future. And it has to be built to a certain code because we don't want to have to rescue your ass when the whole thing comes crumbling down upon you. It has to be safe. It has to be to a certain standard. You have to use you have to use the right materials that will last the test of time, that will withstand, in certain areas of the country. You have to build homes that will withstand certain weather events, and thanks to Republicans, that they're getting worse. But that's regulations. What fucking regulation you want to give away or do away with? They just pat some stupid juvenile, just like Traitor Trump said during his maladministration, that he vowed that every regulation that was added or something or whatever, every regulation that was passed, you had to take 2 regulations away. I mean, how stupid is that? How childish is that? But it's all to appease this fucking ideology that doesn't work. I'm sorry. Go read Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged. She knowed. What am I saying? Because she's dead. So, because I was going to say she knows and she knewed, and it came out she knowed. She knowed it knowed. It didn't work. Ayn Rand, the sociopath, who decried Medicare and Social Security her entire life, calling those on public assistance parasites. Her entire disgusting, wasted, useless, sociopathic life. And when her 5-pack-a-day cigarette habit, and that's what, and that's, I don't, actually, how many packs? Let's not lie or exaggerate. How many, I think it was 3 or 4, maybe I'm wrong, packs a day did Ayn Rand smoke? We know she wrote glowingly about a child murderer and dismemberer in her diary. Oh yeah, look at that. She smoked more than 2 packs of cigarettes every day for many years. Okay, good. So when her filthy 2-pack or more a day smoking habit finally caught up to her in the form of cancer, she realized, and her quote was, cancer costs more than books sell for. Or books, something like that. Cancer costs more than books produce, or something like that. And so she went on Social Security and Medicare. She took public assistance. But did she have the decency, the dignity, the humanity, I said decency, well, yeah, to simply say thank you, or to even say, wow, I see the light. Because we know how that's the way it is with right-wingers. They only see the light when something affects them directly. And they can't, because there's like something inherently fucking wrong with them. As Justice Louis Brandeis said, conservatism is engaged in mankind's oldest exercise. This is more of a paraphrase, but namely, the search for the superior moral justification for selfishness. And that's it. They are, they can't abide by their own ideology. When their ideology meets reality, it crumbles. So, you can't just meet every issue with deregulation and a tax break. But because, and they know this too, that's the other thing. As we see with their these are people that, they talk about small government, and the old joke is small enough to fit in your uterus. Yes, of course. Small government, my ass. Small government doesn't go into your doctor's office with you. And like Wall said last night, mind your own business. Mind your own fucking business. And the insult that J.D. Vance, going on about how, and of course Traitor Trump too, is going on about how everybody wanted abortion to go back to the states. That's the way it should be. We should all vote at the state level. Well, fuck that. So every state will have you'll have different freedoms and rights over your own body? Bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. This is like dragging us back to times we thought we left in history's trash bin. It's like, rolling back. You can't just roll back people's rights. Oh, now I've crossed the border, so I don't have bodily autonomy. And who the fuck are these people, first of all, to be voting on your rights, for you to make a decision about your own health care, for Christ's sakes? So, if you go to J.D. Vance or wherever, you go to West Virginia, then there's a bunch of Republicans get to tell you what you can do with your body. But of course, they will do fuck all when it comes to actual policies that actually reduce the abortion rate, which is another thing. So they're just, it's the hypocrisy and the uselessness is bottomless of these people. Because the fact is, when he's talking about the states, going back to the state, all they're doing, they're just causing chaos. They are agents of chaos. They take this, people's lives, and they turn them upside down as if they're nothing. Like the woman whose name is escaping me right now, who died, who all she needed was a D&C. All she needed was easy medical intervention. And she didn't have to die, but she had to flee her own state, to go to try to get health care. And she died in the process, which is absolutely unconscionable and disgusting. And of course, J.D. Vance cried his crocodile tears, but that would never have happened if not for Republicans, their horrible policies. Deregulation? How about you fucking deregulate your ass off our bodies, motherfucker? Deregulate yourself out of our doctor's office. How about that? But of course not, because they don't want small government. They want very big, Republican, oppressive government who tells you what to do, who tells you what books to read, who tells you how you can live your authentic life, tells you, what you're going to see on Twitter, right? That you're going to shove these horrible lies down people's throats constantly. And then we're all left to wonder, gee, why are we so divided? You know, that's why we're so divided, because lies. You know, human beings are storytellers. We're communicators. That's how we connect with each other. You know, that's why I wish these right-wingers would simply fuck off to a desert island if they don't want to play in our reindeer games. They don't want to be part of our civilization, our diverse, complex civilization. Then fuck off. Go live. You know, you could do that. No one's stopping you. No one stopped the Unabomber from living in the woods, living off the fat of the land. You know, he could have just lived there his whole life if he didn't want to send bombs to people. But at least he had the integrity to move his ass to the woods and disconnect from society. You know, that's what he did. He lived off the land. He built his own little cabin. Not that I'm like, whatever, you know what I'm saying. But they don't want to do that. They want all the benefits of civilization, but none of the responsibilities we have to each other. And they don't want freedom. They hate freedom. They don't want you to be free to live your life. And the point is, you know, the government, we get together. We are interdependent species. We live with each other. We need to be with each other. Alone we can survive, but together we thrive. And that isn't that the point of being in a community? And if you want to call yourself the greatest country or whatever, you know, the shining freaking city on the hill, which is I'm so sick of that statement. Well, let's be the shining city on the hill then. Let's show people that. What does that look like? To me, to Democrats, to normal people, to progressives, liberals, to people who are capable of functioning in a free democratic society, that means we don't leave anyone behind. You know, we set the infrastructure of democracy. An economy. What is the meaning of an economy? Is it to make a few people very rich? That's what it is in the Republican land. You know, Peter Thiel, like all these right-wingers being the pets of billionaires. They're not, you think they're giving a shit about you? We heard Traitor Trump laughing with Elon Manchild Muskrat about how people going on strike getting fired. You know, which is a violation of labor law, but okay, there's your so-called president that these assholes, some of these fucking people who are in unions are going to vote for. Because why? He's just as racist as they are. He's just as small, you know? And yeah, and the thing is, you know, whatever. All right, I was going to go on about abortion, but you know what I'm saying. It's just that if they were really anti-abortion, they would support health care, living wages, retirement security, education, all of the policies that actually reduce the abortion rate. They're not anti-abortion. They are pro-control. That's it. So, and their behavior is evidence of that. The fact that they're trying to, they're setting it up right now. We have like 33 days or something to the election. And trust me, January 6th was the dress rehearsal. They're all over the country trying to set up roadblocks, trying to kick people off the voting rolls. As we know, you should check, especially if you're in a swing state. Which is really annoying, too, by the way, right? I mean, we live in this tyranny of the minority, where a handful of people ultimately will decide the election. And, you know, I don't know. One person said that we need to have a purge. One person said that one person's a convicted felon, convicted rapist with classified documents in his shitter, still lying about the election, who says that he will be a dictator on day one and that we should cancel the Constitution. And the other one changed her view on fracking. What a decision. I'm pulling out my hair. Ugh. All right, let's listen to these fuckers.
You say pushes up prices. Where are you going to build? all the new homes you're promising, and what part of any of this plan will provide
be a beautiful
relief?
federal land, Trumpville.
First of all, Tim just said something that I agree with. We don't want to blame immigrants for higher housing prices, but we do want to blame Kamala Harris for letting in millions of illegal aliens.
She is like the Forrest Gump of everything that Republicans hate. You want to blame Kamala Harris for everything. What? The sun in the morning and the moon at night. You want to blame. It's incredible. She's the vice president. Who knew the vice president was responsible for making policy? Who knew? Well, we knew she wasn't. They don't know that, which is why they always say, about the immigration bill that the Republicans killed on orders of their dear leader. They say, well, Biden doesn't need a bill. He doesn't need it. Well, then he doesn't need it, well, fuck it. Just pass the bill then. What's the point then if he doesn't really need it? So why are you blocking it if it's so, it doesn't matter, right? Oh, he could just do it by the wave of a wand. Another example of how these right-wingers don't know anything about governance or this country. They don't know anything because who anybody out there on the chat, just raise your hand. What branch of government controls the purse strings? Oh, I can't. Yes, I see JD. He's not even from here. That's Congress. Yes, you're right, JD. And it's not the president. So the president can decree anything. He can decree 5,000 more border agents, but if there's no money for it, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. So, come on. It's just the way that these Republicans, but they know that. They know their stupid supporters don't understand the way things work in the country. That's why, because they're lazy too. That's it too. They're immature. They're childish. They need Big Daddy. They want they probably hate their fathers, and a lot of them do, because their fathers probably beat them and called them, the F word or gay or whatever. You know what I mean? And so they have a lot of issues, like that guy on the boat I was telling you about, who was flying a "fuck your feelings" flag, but devolved into a crying, blubbering child, or a man. He's just maybe 35, 40 years old, just falls into this tears and regressed to to age 2, blubbering about how his father didn't love him and all this, right? I mean, they got problems. They need help. But anyway, it's just they guarantee. Not guarantee. They count on the fact that their followers, that the people who vote for them, don't understand how government works. They don't, and they're not telling them either. They're not informing them. They'll just be like, "Oh, well, he doesn't need a bill. He don't need a bill. He could what? He could just." Maybe King Henry the freaking Eighth didn't need a bill, but no, actually he did too. He needed to call a parliament and raise taxes if he wanted to do certain things, right? I mean, this is what has to happen. But here in this government, the reason the executive doesn't, the executive is charged with faithfully executing the laws of the United States. The Congress holds the purse strings as a means of controlling the executive, as the founders understood that, we're not building a monarchy here. We're not making a king. We're not empowering a king. So they can't have control of the purse strings, because otherwise, what would stop the king from doing whatever the fuck they want? And that's why, the right wingers, they don't get that. They don't care. They want King Trump to save them from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place. That's it. Put everybody in their place. But God forbid, please, save my pre-existing conditions protections. Make sure you don't touch all of my democratic policy, the policies that liberals, Democrats, normal people, progressives fought so hard to provide and pass, that in spite of conservative Republican opposition. Don't touch my pre-existing conditions protections, except for the fact that that's all Trump did from day one, signing executive orders, repealing Obamacare, all this other, the whole thumbs down thing with John McCain. It's like they understand how stupid the people who vote for them are, because they understand that they'll believe any bullshit that comes out of their mouths, and it's really, it goes to show us how disingenuous they are, that they don't, it really is. It's like an example of what I always say too, that we're up, I do the show, we have our gatherings and whatnot, and I'm not trying to hurt these people. I would never fly a fuck your feelings flag against these people. You know what I mean? Or even in general against any people. Well, who the fuck would, unless you're cuckoo, a little sick. But we're trying to ensure that they have a decent middle-class life. We want them to have their pre-existing conditions protections. We want them to be able to get help when they're sick, not have to worry about going bankrupt. We want them to be able to send their kids to school and not die in a uniquely American massacre. We want we want them to retire in dignity. We want them to have living wages and decent working conditions and retire in dignity. All of these were made possible through progressive policies. Not a single Republican policy in the bundle. I mean, what did we get? Did we get anything in Trump's tax scam? If anything happened that benefited the working class in Trump's tax scam, it just expired. 10 years or something, or not just expired. It's expiring after 10 years. It's actually coming soon. These things, whatever, inconsequential policies that benefited people, not because he picked your pocket. He gave you, he picked your pocket, and then he found half a dollar on this floor and gave it to you. It's not over 80% of the benefits or the policies in that tax scam went to the 1%. So, where did everyone go? I don't know. Play Dave. Are people gone? Let's see.
Into this country, which does drive up costs, Tim. 25 million illegal aliens competing with Americans for scarce homes is one of the most significant drivers.
What illegal aliens are out there competing with American citizens for homes? And I looked this up. Of course, everything that J.D. Vance went on about is a lie. Let me see. He says immigrants are adding to the cost of housing, and points to this Federal Reserve study. Here, let's listen.
Of home prices in the country. It's why we have massive increases in home prices that have happened right alongside massive increases in illegal alien populations under Kamala Harris's leadership. Now, Tim just mentioned a bunch of ideas.
Like I said,
some of those ideas I actually think are halfway decent, and some of them I disagree with. But the most important thing here is Kamala Harris is not running as a newcomer to politics. She is the sitting vice president.
Yeah,
if she wants to enact,
she is a vice president. She's not a. If she wants to listen to this,
all of these policies,
she wants to enact. She's not the king.
I invite her to use the office that the American people already gave her.
The office of the vice presidency? Is that where legislation happens? I thought that was the legislative branch of government, JD. The one you're in. Unbelievable. But I invite her to use the office. You're talking about a totally different kind of government. What government are you talking about? Not this thing, not this thing of ours, not the constitutionally limited democratic republic nation of laws that you purport to be a part of and want a promotion after 2 years in the Senate. You want to be president or vice president to a near 80 con man with a horrible diet. A morbidly obese con man with a addiction to hamburgers. Yeah, so you want to be the president? God forbid. God forbid he becomes the president despite receiving fewer votes. You know it will if that God forbid that happens. It will be despite receiving fewer votes. This is the guy that's lied right to the American people's faces again, saying, I never called for a nationwide abortion ban. Yes, he did. It's on tape. It's on video. He's done it numerous times on numerous shows over the years. Many, many times. Consistently. That's his stance. He put it on his website when he was running for the Senate. He said in his Senate website, it said that he believes abortion should be illegal nationwide. So, but he has no qualms lying to the American people. And you know what's so disgusting, too, besides everything else, is that when you looked at the reaction to the debate, of course, from the maggots, they were all like, oh, JD won. He won this debate. He won. Because, these people really do love being lied to. They love grifters and con men lying right to their faces. JD Vance has no respect for the people who he wants to vote for him. You think he gives a shit? Look at him going when he went to the donut shop. This is not a person that gives a shit about anybody else but himself. That you cannot fake being a decent person, or being someone that cares about other people. Maybe you can fake it, I don't know. But after a while, I guess he's not faking it in any sense of the word. That's why you get that weird feeling from him. He's awkward. It's a weird, you get that feeling that Candace DeLong, the FBI profiler, says that, when you feel that, that's your gut. When you encounter a sociopath or somebody that you're like, something is wrong here. Something is just not quite right. And she says, listen to that. Listen to your gut, And when we watch him in that donut, watch him try to pretend that he's connecting with people or interacting with people, we're like, you're like, this is weird. Like, it's a very strange feeling because it feels insincere. And it is insincere because he's full of shit. He doesn't connect. It's not like with Bernie, for example. When Bernie talks, when he's trying to help people, there's a record of him helping people. He used to take a bus trip years ago. Was it monthly bus trip from Vermont to Canada with his constituents, whoever wanted to come, to go buy medication in Canada because it was cheaper. And, because here in America, nobody gives a shit. We have this for-profit health racket that Republicans love, and according to them, nothing is worth doing unless some handful of grifters can make a buck, especially off your miseries and sickness. But, J.D. Vance, where is it in his history? Where is there any evidence of him doing anything for anybody else but himself? Is there? Him caring about people somehow? It reminds me, remember Paul Ryan? When he was running for, I think, vice president at the time, I don't know if you remember that story where he busted into a food kitchen or a homeless shelter and a food kitchen, or which was closed, and it didn't matter. He only had a limited amount of time where he grabbed the already clean pots and pans and rolled up his sleeves so they could take pictures of him washing already clean pots and pans. You know, this is what Republicans do.
Not sit around and campaign and do nothing while Americans find the American dream of homeownership completely unaffordable.
Please. As if, you know, we haven't been living under Reaganomics for my entire life, where we went from the most to the least upwardly mobile with the widest income gap. You know, I'm not saying that as far as, I'm talking about these so-called new Democrats that continued Reagan's neoliberal policies. You know, this didn't happen overnight. But according to Traitor J.D. Vance, his master Traitor Trump was some kind of, everything was like phantasmagoria or whatever when he was squatting in the White House despite receiving fewer votes. It's incredible.
Now, you asked, Margaret, what would immediately change the equation for American citizens if you lower energy prices? As Donald Trump says, drill, baby, drill. One of the biggest drivers of housing costs, aside from illegal immigration, is, think about it. If a truck driver's paying 40% more for diesel than the lumber he's delivering to the job site to build a house.
The truck driver can no longer write off their mileage. You know, they can no longer deduct their gas mileage on their taxes thanks to Traitor Trump's tax scam. I know. Oh, my God. They're the worst.
Is also going to become a lot more expensive. If we open up American energy, you will get immediate pricing relief for American citizens, not, by the way, just in housing, but in a whole host of other economic goods, too.
Senator Vance, you still have 23 seconds there. Do you want to answer?
Can I have it?
Yeah. Governor, we will get to you in a moment. But Senator,
and excuse me, just to say, the United States is producing more oil now than ever before, including during Traitor Trump's administration. So there you go. It's just another lie. They're so full of shit. Because you know why they have to lie continuously? Because people don't want what they're peddling. They don't want the end of Obamacare. They don't want the destruction of democracy. They don't want to eliminate the Department of Education and all these other government agencies, the FDA, the National Weather Service, all of these. In the hurricane, you know, Traitor Trump goes down there to upset the maggots who are stupid enough to vote for him, and now they're in the path of the hurricane. They're experiencing the aftermath, and he goes down there lying to them, saying that Biden isn't sending resources to maggot areas, which is a lie. He goes down, this is what they do. This is what Trump does. They go down, he just upsets people, divides people. Lies, nothing but lies. That's all they have. And okay, and the maggots are like, as far as J.D. Vance, he won the debate. He lied to you again and again and again because people don't, if he told the truth, they don't want it. People don't want it. They can't come out and say, no, we're going to destroy your health care. We're going to roll back Obamacare if you give us the power to. They tried it numerous times, countless, dozens of times. I got to look up the exact number, but on day one, he was signed an executive order thinking that's what he could do. That's what they did. They did, and then he complained, and when John McCain gave the thumbs down, Traitor Trump, he never forgave him. So far from saving Obamacare, Obamacare survives in spite of them, still to this day. And J.D. Vance, in this, one of his answers, he said, well, enrollment is up. It was up under Trump. That's because, exactly like Wall said, people are using it. And thank you, Play Dave, on the chat. 60 times he tried to repeal it. That's right. It's just an astonishing number. Or the Republicans in general, was just never stopping. but they've done a lot of damage to it as much as they can. Marco Rubio brags he was responsible for eliminating the risk corridors, which is part of the reason why healthcare is so expensive, or the premiums with this for the insurance racket is so expensive, because the government was going to give the insurance racket money just to take on sick people, because that's how it has to work. You want to have a risk pool of as many people as possible. But Republicans want to go back to the bad old days where, if you don't want, if the insurance racket can't make a buck, like if you get an expensive illness that's going to cost them, because they don't get rich paying claims, they get rich denying care. So they want to be able to kick you off again. They want to be able to not insure you. And if you were born with something, born with diabetes, or born with any, there were, before Obamacare, there were kids who would reach their lifetime cap. They had lifetime caps before they even hit puberty. If you had a catastrophic medical illness or whatever, or an illness, I guess I repeat, but that's the way it was. It was horrible, and that's why we needed the ACA. And what J.D. Vance is talking about is going back to the old days, and Republicans have bad ideas. Their ideas do not benefit the people. It's a scam. He's talking about, well, let's let him talk and I'll comment on it.
Going to seize the federal lands. Can you clarify?
Oh, well, they're talking about
what Donald
lands.
Trump has said is we have a lot of federal lands that aren't being used for anything. They're not being used for national park. They're not being used, and they could be.
No, they're not. He's just a scam artist. He wants, to steal land.
In the western part of the countries we do.
All right, let's keep going.
Which economists are saying that it is immigrants that's adding to the cost?
Governor, your time is up. But Senator, on that point, I'd like for you to clarify. There are many contributing factors to high housing costs. What evidence do you have that migrants are part of this problem?
Well, there's a Federal Reserve study that we're happy to share after the debate. We'll put it up on social media, actually.
Okay, he's a liar. There you go again. Lying. See, we'll put it up on social media. There's the Federal Reserve study. Okay, J.D. Vance, I waited for this Federal Reserve study to be posted, which never came. So I looked it up, and apparently you would be surprised. He's not telling the truth. So J.D. Vance's claim that immigrants are significantly driving up the cost of housing is, as usual, a oversimplification of a complex issue, and that's what Republicans do. So he is talking about when he refers to this Federal Reserve study. That's not true. There is no Federal Reserve study. It's misleading. What he's referring to is a short prepared speech by the Fed official named Michelle Bowman, who stated that immigration, quote, could result in upward pressure on rents in some areas. Just one sentence. Could result. But in the reality-based community, and she didn't mention illegals anywhere. Immigrants, she's saying, could, which would make housing more affordable. I mean, if people want to live in a certain area, that I guess would drive up the cost of housing or whatnot. But okay, I don't know. I'm not a housing or real estate aficionado, but what he's talking about, I mean, he's so full of shit. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's just get to the bottom of it. Saying that there's a Federal Reserve study. There is no Federal Reserve study. That's a lie. It's a it's not, it's like, how many words? Could result in upward pressure on rents. Less than 10-word sentence in a short speech prepared by a Fed official. It's astonishing how slick and how much these people will lie. You know, I mean, what is it? I don't understand, guys. I don't understand. You know, I do this show. We're here because we're interested in politics. Because I mean, why? Because I think things could be better. I think things could be fairer. We could live in a country. We're the richest country. We could live in a country that promotes the general welfare over the welfare of the, you know, J.D. Vance's friend Peter Thiel. So that's why I'm here. I want to help. I'm trying to help people. We all are. We care about people. You know, and the thing that the Republicans go on about health care, you know, they're like, well, put sick people. That's his big plan. This is what the Republicans talk about. Oh, health insurance used to be cheap. That's because the insurance racketeers could pick who they were insuring. And, if you're a young person, you're a young, healthy person, you don't need it. You should pay less. Because that's what they want to do. Put all the healthy people in one pool and all the sick people in another pool. Therefore, who the fuck wants just sick people? So you're, as a sick person, you'll pay through the nose at the time you can't afford it at all. The time you can afford it the least, they will make you pay the most. And then that's the thing about healthcare, too. It's like the human condition. It changes. So, I don't, the thing about the Republicans are always like, well, you should just get the health care, what your family needs. Well, the thing about health is that it varies. It's a variable. It's not like you could be like, well, I'm only going to get a minimal amount of health care this year. I think I'll put my cancer off till, I don't know, maybe next year or the year after. That's not how it works. Health changes. You're healthy one day, you're sick the next day. You don't know. It's being a human being. We're finite beings. Things happen. Even young people get sick. They can get very sick, and they can get catastrophic illnesses like everybody else. You don't have to be old, but yes, that's why, you can't predict. I'm going to be in the healthy pool because I'm going to be healthy. Well, good luck with that, booby, because everybody gets sick. Everybody gets, we're all heading in the same direction. But this is who they are. This is what Republicans want to do to us. It's an immature, of course, non-solution that only serves the insurance racketeers. It doesn't help people, right? It doesn't do anything for the people. It makes it worse. Makes it more stressful. That's the last thing you want to do when you're sick, is be worrying about money. But this is what they've done to us. So, to blame everything when he's talking about immigrants, immigrants are this Federal Reserve study. I wonder if anybody asked him about the Federal Reserve study yet. Let me look this up, if he's released it yet. Let's see. I'll ask the AI. I wish I could use voice to text on this. Maybe I could do it on my phone, actually. I don't type that fast. So let me see. I have the app on my phone. Let's see. During the debate, J.D. Vance said that immigrants were making housing costs more expensive. And then he referenced a Federal Reserve study that claimed would explain this and dives deep into the issue. You notice how he said that. Did J.D. Vance release this supposed Federal Reserve study that he promised? Let's see what he says. Let's see. Yeah, so it says, during the vice presidential debate, J.D. Vance claimed the immigration, particularly illegal immigration, contributes to higher housing costs, citing a Federal Reserve study. However, this study was actually a speech by federal Governor Michelle Bowman, noting that immigration could exert upward pressure on rents in certain areas, but it was not a formal study. And so, but he didn't. Despite these references, experts argue that the primary factors driving up housing costs are structural issues like insufficient housing supply. Well, that makes more sense, right? Supply and demand. But if you're, I guess, a trickle-down voodoo economic racist who hates America and wants to do anything to tear us apart, you'll blame immigrants for everything, right? So I guess, let me ask it again. That's a follow-up. Did he release the study that he promised, even though it's not a study, but just a sentence in a speech somebody gave? Of course, no one will follow up with this, I'm sure. He did not, of course. Yes, J.D. Vance did not release this supposed Federal Reserve study as promised because the study is not a study. It is a speech. And it's one sentence in a speech. So, that somebody said. That's like somebody listening to the show and doing a transcript and citing me as, according to a study that Tara Devlin said. I don't know. All right, so let's see. Some research, where is this? Home prices have surged, but what's it say? 1 in 3 workers in the construction industry are immigrants. Oh, yes, so it says, experts argue that deporting immigrants, as proposed by Vance, could actually worsen the housing crisis. Isn't that typical, right? Because 1 in 3 workers in the construction industry are immigrants, and mass deportation could significantly slow down new housing construction. Of course. I mean, could you imagine? Who fucking wants to live in a country of mass deportation? Could you imagine the horror? And he wouldn't answer the question if there's a parent who is illegal but has a child born in America, so they're an American citizen. Do you deport the parent in spite of that? He wouldn't answer it, but you understand that they don't want birthright citizenship. So to them, it wouldn't matter. And it doesn't matter whether they're, whether someone's here legally or not. According to Vance and the Republicans, everyone's illegal. Deport them all. Just deport them, because especially if they're brown. I mean, if they're from Denmark, right? They don't care. Denmark, you're fine. As Traitor Trump would always say, why don't we let them in from Denmark? Well, because Denmark, they don't want to fucking come here. They don't want to put up with your shit. They have health care. They have education. They have decent middle-class lives. They've done something about homelessness. They've built housing. Is that in Denmark, actually, now that I'm saying this? Where they eradicated homelessness by building housing for everybody. I should do this it's probably easier to talk. What Scandinavian country eradicated homelessness by building houses for everyone? Finland. That's it. Has made significant strides in eradicating homelessness by implementing the Housing First policy. introduced in 2008. It focuses on providing an immediate permanent housing to individuals experiencing homelessness, along with necessary support services. Well, could you imagine? Well, that's the other thing with thinking about necessary support services. It's just, that's the other part of the Republican agenda that is a disconnect with their policies. They have no support services. You know, they're all like, women should have babies. Like, that's your only purpose, is to be a vessel, like The Handmaid's Tale. But they do fuck all for fostering a kind of environment, like family leave, for example. You know, these are the same people that they vote against anything that makes childcare cheaper, like the child tax credit, for example, which reduced poverty, childhood poverty in half. It cut it in half. You know, they stand in the way of that. They're still standing in the way. It's all right. Let's keep going.
Really drills down on the connection between increased levels of migration.
Listen to that. Really drills. I'm sorry, guys. Let me rewind that a little bit, because you can. And now that we know that he's talking about a less than 10-word sentence in somebody's speech, not a study. Let's listen to the lie.
Problem.
Well, there's a Federal Reserve study that we're happy to share after the debate. We'll put it up on social media, actually, that really drills down on the connection between increased levels of migration, especially illegal immigration, and higher housing prices. Now, of course,
why is he shaking his head? That's the other thing that really annoyed me, when Walz was shaking his head as if this is real. Maybe it's just something he does, but there's no reason to nod your head in agreement with this lie.
It's not the entire driver of higher housing prices.
There's a study from the Federal Reserve that really drills down on this issue.
You have that migrants are part of this problem.
Well, there's a Federal Reserve study that we're happy to share after the debate. We'll put it up on social media, actually, that really drills down on the connection between increased levels of migration, especially illegal immigration, and higher housing prices. Now, of course, Margaret, that's...
Good one, JD. Good one. It really drills down in that one sentence that lady said on stage one day without anything to back it up. And speculating that it could, it was just speculation. She said it could. Immigration could. It didn't say should or would. She said could. Maybe, I'm thinking out loud. I'm spitballing here. This could. But he takes it, and now it's a study, everybody. It's a Federal Reserve study that really drilled down. Now, I know he went to Yale, and I don't know. I mean, I was in college too. I didn't go to Ivy League school, but yeah, you got to write a lot of papers in college. I wonder if, and research papers, statistics. I took a whole bunch of different classes, of course. Always writing 10-page papers, right? At least. Could you imagine if they asked you to really drill down on a subject and you handed in a 7-word sentence? No, JD, I know you're slicker than that, but yeah, he's a slimy bastard. He reminds me of the snake in Jungle Book, right? The one who's trust in me, right? He reminds me of that snake.
Build homes. I actually agree with Tim Walz. We should get out of this idea of housing as a commodity. But the thing that has most turned housing into a commodity is giving it away to millions upon millions of people who have no legal right to be here.
How dare you?
What are the federal regulations? I deal with this as a governor.
You can very quickly reply.
I'm sorry. I get this as a governor, and I don't necessarily disagree with that in some cases, many of those are local. Many of them are state. I don't know which ones are federal, but I think whenever we talk regulations, people think they can get rid of them I think you want to be able to get out of your house in a fire. I think you want to make sure that it's fireproof and those types of things. So which are the regulations? Because the vice president's not responsible for those. Congress writes those.
Rorschach test.
Governor, thank you. Gentlemen.
Okay.
We have a lot.
By the way, Vance's claim about giving houses to immigrants is, of course, not entirely accurate. So he said that he made that, whatever, we just heard him. He says that housing is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegals to compete with Americans for scarce homes. But guess what, guys? I know you're well ahead of me. There is no evidence or existence. I guess we can say this doesn't exist. There is no federal program giving houses to immigrants. Guess what? Right? He conflated issues, of course, where he says that housing affordability is influenced by factors including, housing affordability is influenced by multiple factors: supply and demand, zoning, construction, interest rates, and overall economic conditions. But the whole, we just went over that immigrants may increase demand in housing. That's just from somebody's opinion. It's not a study. And but immigrants contribute to economic growth and job creation, which can stimulate housing construction. In fact, we know that immigrants actually commit less crime than native-born Americans. So anyway, yeah, I guess we'll be here till next election cycle, fact-checking all of his lies. It's so outrageous. It's incredible how much he lies without shame at all, shamelessly lying to people's faces. Oh no. Did the damn stream stop? No, we're back. Okay. What the fuck is going on? It keeps going as gray screen. Did we disconnect it all? Okay. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. I'm just on the chat. Somebody say something. Hi. Are we? Oh, okay. We're here. We're fine. Okay, good. Thank you. It keeps shutting my YouTube browser and going to a blank screen. It's weird. It's weird. Like JD's affection for couches.
Get to. You're passionate about the housing crisis, I can tell. Nora?
Thank you. One of the top problems facing Americans is the high cost of health care. Senator Vance, at the last presidential debate, former President Trump was asked about replacing the Affordable Care Act. In response,
I'm reading the chat. Kathy on the chat said, someone said on a podcast I listened to that he's a better liar than Trump. Yes, he really is. You're right. He's slicker because he seems reasonable, and he seems informed. He's Satan. He's Damien from The Omen. He really is. Look at that fucking face. Just a random screenshot or still. You think, is that a face of warmth? Right? Is that a face that somebody who cares about others? Right? That's somebody that hooks up with Peter Thiel, takes money from a fucking self-loathing billionaire who hates democracy, and will say and do whatever it takes to get power. The power to overthrow democracy and shove people in their, into the position of not being able to do anything about it. Not being able to vote them out. That's right. Errol on the chat says, and we all know what happened to Damien in the final conflict. Yes. All for you, Damien. Nice to see you, Vlad. Welcome, welcome. welcome on the chat. If you're on other platforms or whatever, come on over youtube.com/cfachannel/tarabuster. We're hanging out in the chat room. And if you can become a patron, please do. Patreon.com/TaraDevlin. And thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. Check out the other independent media voices at APS Radio News. Keep the real liberal media alive. I mean, if you want. I mean, we're all here. We're hanging out. Come back Friday, too. We have our regular Friday show, 8:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, like the show, hit the notification, and hang out. We have a good time, I think. I don't know. I'll speak for myself. I like it. I like it myself.
Once he said, I have concepts of a plan. Since then, Senator, you've talked about changing how chronically ill Americans get health insurance. Can you explain how that would work? And can you guarantee that Americans with pre-existing conditions won't pay more?
Look, I see, this is the other thing. I'm sorry. Okay, I don't mean to whatever, but it is what it is. This is a Tarabuster, right? Whatever. Why am I apologizing? But you see, it's another example of Republican infantilism. She's like, will you protect people with pre-existing conditions? This whole fucking thing about pre-existing conditions, we had to endure this bullshit of pre-existing conditions, people being kicked off or denied health care. You know, my whole life, half my fucking life, okay, until Obamacare. And then the Republicans and I remember when they were passing Obamacare, and I was going to the town halls here in my neighborhood, and these pricks came from, I guess, Rush Limbaugh was popular, Fox News, of course. They disrupted these town halls all the time. It's like you cannot, they ruin everything. One maggot will ruin a whole town hall, of course. But these were when they were teabaggers, before they were maggots. And they would go and scream at everyone, scream at the representative. And I remember, they had the mics up and you had to get in line if you wanted to say something. And I was there, and all they would do is scream and jump up and start, not even waiting their turn, just screaming at the representative. And it wasn't just in my district. This was happening all over the country with these fuckers, because they were being activated by their propaganda channels to go and telling everyone that they're not free if we pass this Obamacare, because that's the next stop is Hitler, right? Remember that? This is how Hitler started. He gave everybody health care, which is a fucking lie. Germany had health care before Hitler. These pricks. I mean, everything's a lie. It's unbelievable. And they would jump up and say, hands off my Medicare, get your government hands off my Medicare. And now, because they rewrite history, I'm telling you, I told you the story before, when I was field producing the Mike Malloy show, we went to Washington. I would go with him. He would do the show from his house with his wife. And then when he needed help on the road, sometimes he would do the show on the road for certain events. I would field produce the show. So I would meet him in Washington and we would do the show. And during the ACA debate, when the Supreme Court was deciding if this was constitutional, we were recording on a radio row with Families USA. So in between the shows, I would go out and I would interview and talk to these teabaggers that were in front of the Supreme Court. And now in the light of history or in the revisionist history, maggots like to say that, that's just a canard, that no one would scream, get your government hands off my Medicare. That's not true. I met the lady. She had a big giant Mickey Mouse hand. And on it, it said, "Get your government hands off my Medicare." And there's pictures of her online. And I talked to these people. And I wasn't, mean to them or anything. And what I came away with was, these people are nice. But they're fucking stupid. Okay? I was being very nice and respectful to the lady. I didn't call her stupid to her face or anything, but they're very much mal-informed by the people who want them to die needlessly without health care. And they're listening to a lot of bullshit. But they would say, I remember the lady saying, no one wants anyone to die without health care. No one? Are you sure about that? She said, everyone can, but we do get health care in this country. It's already, you could just go to the emergency room, which is why the American for-profit health insurance racket and the health system in the United States is the most expensive system. It's not a healthcare system. It's a sick care system. And that's what Obamacare, one of the things Obamacare tried to remedy. People needlessly dying without health care yearly. No other industry would be allowed to kill 35 to 45,000 Americans needlessly die every year without health care because they avoid getting health care or going to the doctor when they're sick because of money, or they have conditions or they have sicknesses that can be cured, but they don't seek help because they don't have insurance or they are underinsured. And they don't want to, just don't have the money. So by the time they go, when they have no other choice, when they're sick and they're desperate, it's too late. And no other industry would be allowed to get away with killing 35,000 to 45,000 Americans every year. No other industry, and no corporate media calls them out ever. Do they ever call them out and say that statistic? Instead, they'll do feel-good stories about comedians doing a fundraiser for some sick kid or something. And isn't that great how everyone chipped in? But the real story is the for-profit health insurance racket. And the Republicans, for my entire life, have been standing in the way of anything that stands in the way of health insurance racket profits. And now, as always, just like they did with Social Security and now Medicare and everything else, that they stand in the way and try to prevent. They position themselves as the champion. So this pre-existing conditions shit, because what happened, Obamacare happened, and the the maggots and normal people, everyone says, oh yeah, finally we're not going to get denied for pre-existing conditions, and that's just because of regulation, the demon evil regulations that Republicans loathe and want to repeal every regulation, right? But because it's so infantile to be like, I will protect your pre-existing conditions protections or whatever, but not then decry the individual mandate, which he does here in this clip, because one goes hand in hand with the other. So it's like the Republicans, it doesn't matter though to them. They promise whatever they think their dumbass constituents want to hear to vote for their own demise. Ice cream for breakfast, everybody, but you'll never gain a pound, or it's like they promise this. All of a sudden, they're the protectors of pre-existing conditions when they've been fucking trying to overthrow Obamacare or what the fuck? Where'd that music come from? I don't want the music now. But yeah, so my whole life now they're like, oh, we will always protect your pre-existing. How are you going to protect your pre-existing conditions if you're anti-regulation and you don't want to do anything else except, tell the insurance racket that they have to cover you and everything else? They're just so infantile. It's like they want all the benefits, but none of the responsibilities. And this is a prime example of that. The way that they supposedly approach healthcare. No, they're not approaching healthcare with any real solution. The Republican, and I'm saying Republican deliberately, because Obamacare is the Republican healthcare plan. It is what Nixon proposed. It is the idea of forcing everybody to buy into the for-profit health insurance racket, and then you cover everybody, but somebody makes a buck, and that was what Nixon proposed. This is the Republican healthcare plan. The Democratic health care plan is the public option. It's Medicare. It's universal health care. But, we can't have that thanks to Joe Lieberman and others. But hopefully one day.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, of course, we're going to cover Americans with pre-existing conditions. In fact, a lot of my family members have gotten health care.
Your mima and papa?
Members of my family actually got private health insurance, at least for the first time, switched off of Medicaid onto private insurance for the first time under Donald Trump's leadership.
Because
and I think that,
under his leadership, where they tried to repeal Obamacare, where he did everything. Remember, they fucked up the enrollment period too. They shortened it. They did everything. This is why I hate them. Besides everything else, because the lies. When Traitor Trump was squatting in the White House despite receiving fewer votes, he did everything in his disgusting, illegitimate power to fuck with the exchange, and they shortened the period that you could sign up. They did away with the representatives that you could call and get help with if you had trouble navigating the site. They made it as confusing as possible. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I do. And obviously they count on their maggot constituents to be stupid and by every lie that comes out of their holes.
People have criticized this concepts of a plan remark. I think it's very simple common sense. I think as Tim Walz knows from 12 years in Congress, you're not going to propose a 900-page bill standing on a debate stage. What 900-page bill?
I thought you hated 900-page bills. That's the other thing. Remember when we were enduring these monsters during the ACA debate, where they'd be like, "It's 900 pages." Yeah, I could propose a health care bill with 1 page. It says Medicare for all. But they wouldn't have that either. It's so many pages. It's how many pages because you're trying to prop up this fucking rapacious parasite sucking profit from America's illnesses. That's why it's 900 pages, because you're trying to please these goddamn parasites. That's all they are. They do nothing. It's not like they don't give health care. They just suck your tumor dry of profit. They're just horrible.
Years, and it wouldn't actually mean anything because part of this is the give and take of bipartisan negotiation. Now, when Donald Trump was actually president, and again, he has a record to be proud of, prescription drugs fell in 2018 for the first time in a very long time. Under Kamala Harris's leadership, prescription drugs are up about 7%. Under Donald Trump's entire 4 years, they were up about 1.5%. He introduced pricing transparency. Think about healthcare. You go into a hospital, you try to buy something, and nobody knows what it actually costs. That price transparency will actually give American consumers a little bit more choice and will also drive down costs. And we talked about, you know, the reinsurance regulations is what I was talking about. Look, Donald Trump has said that if we allow states to experiment a little bit on how to cover both
We've already had the fucking experiment. My entire life we had it. That's why it sucked. That's why we needed Obamacare. Exactly. And nice to see you, Vlad. Vlad says, I missed your voice, Tara. Thank you. I missed you. I like the evening shows for a change than the morning stuff all the time. Anywho, glad you're going over the debate point by point. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And 00 Govan, I don't know how to pronounce it. Govenu? Very little soul with this guy, exemplified in the donut shop. We should pity him. Yes, but we as humans with emotions and empathy, we do pity him, but he doesn't feel pity. You know, he doesn't care. He spits on your pity. Pity is for weak people. Like Ayn Rand said, altruism is evil. That's who they idolize. You understand? Like, that's fucked up. Altruism is evil? Fuck off to the woods with you. I wish. Fuck off. I felt very Irish for a second there. Fuck off to the woods with you. With my lucky charms. I am Irish, so I can say things like that.
Non-chronically ill, it's not just a plan. He actually implemented some of these regulations when he was president of the United States. And I think you can make a really good argument that it salvaged Obamacare, which was doing disastrously until Donald Trump came along.
Fucking liar.
And I think it's an important point about President Trump.
It was doing disastrously before Donald Trump came along. Oh my God. It's like, because now people like it. We predicted this would happen, because this is what happens with Republicans, with everything that they cry about and warn about. Nothing ever comes to fruition, but Democrats make advances, and progressives, normal people, keep moving forward in spite of them. And eventually, and this is what I said to the guy at the town hall years ago when all the teabaggers, were yelling at him. I said, who cares what they say? These are the same people that are decried every other step forward this country ever made. And trust me, the minute they pass Obamacare, or it wasn't called Obamacare, but the health care bill, these people will be signing up. They'll be the first in line to grab it, and then they'll start positioning themselves as its champion. And I remember, and that's pretty much what I said, and everybody applauded. That's all I gotta say, okay? It's true, though. Just don't have to be a goddamn Miss Cleo to predict this. We just know who they are. They're like, it's like their bag of trick. One trick pony. This is who they are. They don't got any other tricks.
You don't have to agree with everything that President Trump has ever said or ever done. But when Obamacare was crushing under the weight of its own regulatory burden and health care costs, Donald Trump could have destroyed the program. Instead, he worked in a bipartisan way to ensure that Americans had access to affordable care. It's not perfect, of course, and there's so much more that we can do. But I think that Donald Trump has earned the right to put in place some better health care policies. He's earned it because...
Earned it? The one thing that's really outrageous about, he could have reeled that in a little more, but to say that Trump worked tirelessly on a bipartisan bill, he worked tirelessly. You got to be kidding me. Exactly. I hear the audience laughing. When the fuck did Donald Trump ever work tirelessly? When did he work? Much less work tirelessly. Exactly. And Kathy on the chat says, I do not recall my mom ever complaining about health insurance when I was a kid, back in the 60s and 70s. From what I was told, health insurance back then was not for profit, and that is true. Blue Cross Blue Shield was nonprofit. And we only have this bullshit system where employers give you health insurance by accident. And it was a result of after World War II and the upwardly mobile, economically vibrant, working class majority made possible through New Deal policies, the GI Bill, people went to college, came out, started working, building, the American fucking dream and all that shit. And they, back in the day, because the economy, was, it was a time in American history called the Great Prosperity, which most maggots have never heard of. Well, they think that's Donald Trump trickling on them and getting some in their mouths by accident. But during the Great Prosperity, when there were companies, we had 35% unionized workforce, and there was a lot of competition for jobs, right? Not jobs. I mean, companies were competing for workers. So offering health care was another perk they would offer their employees. That's how this happened. And then it just became a thing. Because when you left your job, when you got a job and you all of a sudden had cancer, got sick and needed your insurance, the insurance racket couldn't do shit. They couldn't kick you off because you were a part of your company's health plan. It's like, a mini, what do you call it? Mandate, right? A mini single payer system. But if you lost your job or got laid off, then because you're on your own, booby, the insurance racketeers, fuck off. Go fucking die. Take your cancer and fuck off to the woods with the Unabomber. Who cares? Sucks to be you. So that's how it happened. And it's an accident. That's why we have the most expensive insurance racket that it costs double than the next most expensive system. It bankrupts millions. I think it's still bankrupting millions because, let me look that up, because this was before Obamacare. Let me see. Because now we declare let me see. The uniquely American medical bankruptcy. How many Americans go bankrupt every year because of health problems? Let's see what the number is now. Well, it's still, it used to be 1 million. Now it's 650,000 Americans file for bankruptcy due to medical bills, accounting for over 60% of personal bankruptcies. This issue affects not only the poor, but also not only the poor or unemployed, but also the employed, with nearly 80% having insurance at the time that incurred the medical debt. Now, does that sound like a system that needs to be saved? This is what sucks about this bull. I mean, it is what it is. We're here. So, Obamacare, thanks to Joe Lieberman, we couldn't have a public option, which would have lowered costs for everybody. We should have a public option, and hopefully we will when we get rid of these fucking maggots and vote Harris and Walz and give them a goddamn Democratic majority. But this is, we could do a lot better. So bankrupts millions, needlessly kills thousands, leaves millions out, and consistently ranks dead last or next to dead last in all positive measures. Isn't that, can't we do better than that? How much do you have to hate yourself? That's the other thing. I wish Tim Walz would have said, there's so many things. I wish I could have been in his ear telling him, say this, say that. Why are you agreeing with him? Nobody wants you to be agreeable. You're talking to this is not a normal person. This is not Mitt Romney's VP pick. This is Traitor Trump's VP pick, who's trying to make this con man, who's trying to overthrow this country, with this the serial bankrupt, tax cheating, draft dodging con man with a serious case of dictator envy. That's his VP pick. Why are you agreeing with him? I mean, this is not a normal vice president. I know we all long for, civility, but we're not there yet. Have you met Donald Trump? I agree with you. I agree with you. This is not a normal VP candidate. All right, Junior, what do you want me to do? Oh, Jesus. I'm standing up. What am I supposed to do? Huh? He wants to sit on my lap, but I can't. Are you here to crack the whip, producer? All right. We'll have to put you down. Okay. All right. We're just going to do this. I see the time. And then we'll do the rest of it on Friday, if that's okay, guys. And plus the Jack Smith thing.
He did it successfully the first time.
Governor?
All right, here's where being an old guy gives you some history. I was there at the creation of the ACA. And the reason it was so important is I come from a major healthcare state, home of the Mayo Clinic, home to Medical Alley, 3M, Medtronic, all of those. We understand healthcare. It's why we're ranked first on affordability and accessibility and quality of healthcare. And so what I know is under Kamala Harris, more people are covered than they have before. And those of you listening, this is critical to you. Now, Donald Trump all of a sudden wants to. Go back and remember this. He ran on the first thing he was going to do on day one was to repeal Obamacare. On day one, he tried to sign an executive order to repeal the ACA. Mm-hmm. He signed on to a lawsuit to repeal the ACA, but lost at the Supreme Court. And he would have repealed the ACA had it not been for the courage of John McCain to save that bill. Now, fast forward, what that means to you is you lose your pre-existing conditions. If you're sitting at home and you got asthma, too bad. If you're a woman, probably not. Broke your foot during football, might kick you out. Your kids get kicked out when they're 26. Yep. Kamala Harris negotiated drug prices for the first time with Medicare. We have 10 drugs that will come online, the most common ones that'll be there. But look, this issue, and when Donald Trump said, I've got a concept of a plan, it cracked me up as a fourth grade teacher because my kids would have never given me that. But what Senator Vance just explained might be worse than a concept, because what he explained is pre-Obamacare. And I'll make this as simple as possible because I have done this for a long time. What they're saying is, if you're healthy, why should you be paying more?
That's it.
So what they're going to do is let insurance companies pick who they insure, because guess what happens? You pay your premium, it's not much. They figure they're not going to have to pay out to you. But those of you a little older, gray, got cancer, you're going to get kicked out of it. That's why the system didn't work. Kamala Harris will protect and enhance the ACA.
Governor, thank you. Senator, you have not yet explained how you would protect people with pre-existing conditions or laid out that plan.
Well, look, we currently have laws and regulations.
Yeah, I love this. We already have laws and regulations. It's called the ACA. It's called Obamacare. We already have. Look, hey, we have it. We're trying to overthrow it 1,000,000 times, 60 times to be precise. Not 1,000,000, but
in place right now that protect people with pre-existing conditions.
Unbelievable.
We want to keep those regulations in place, but we also want to make the health insurance marketplace function a little bit better. Now, what Governor Walz just said is actually not true. A lot of what happened, and the reason that Obamacare was crushing under its own weight is that a lot of young and healthy people were leaving the exchanges. Donald Trump actually helped address that problem, and he did so in a way that preserved people's access to coverage who had pre-existing conditions. But again, something that these guys do is they make a lot of claims about if Donald Trump becomes president, all of these terrible consequences are going to ensue. But in reality, Donald Trump was president. Inflation was low. Take-home pay was higher. And he saved the very program from a Democratic administration that was collapsing and would have collapsed absent his leadership. He did his job, which is governed in a bipartisan...
How dare he? How fucking dare he? He did his job. He saved it. Thank God for Traitor Trump. Even though, hello, we were there. We were fucking there. Here's John McCain saving Obamacare.
1:29 a.m. Senator McCain re-enters the chamber. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell stands at the front of the room like he had most. 1:29 a.m.
Sorry, hit the
Senator
wrong
McCain
button.
re-enters the chamber. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell stands at the front of the room like he had
Look at this
most of the
fucking
night.
shit-eating grin.
The grin on his face, though, quickly disappeared.
I remember this. I was watching because I was like, fuck. They're going to take my health insurance away. Here we go. These sons of bitches. Every time you take one step forward, these fuckers are dragging us back. Back to times, you know, the worst of times. Where's my YouTube? I lost you guys. Did I close the damn window by accident? No, here you are. Look at his fucking face. Look at them all standing around. All these pricks. These Republicans here. Mitch fucking McConnell. Looking like a goddamn scumbag. Looking like a fucker.
Mr. Peters.
Senator Bernie Sanders appears to nudge Senator Jeanne Shaheen as if to say, watch this. McCain waves his hand to get the attention of the Senate clerk, pauses for just a moment, and gives a dramatic thumbs down. Audible gasp on the Senate floor, and then commotion.
And I remember Chuck Schumer going, stop. Don't applaud? Fuck that. Fucking dance in the end zone, you scums. Not you scums, I mean. What's up with these Democrats? Not knowing how to play the game, but oh well. This is years ago.
Some Democrats can't contain their excitement. 1:29.
Why am I doing that? Oh, I keep hitting the
moment and gives a dramatic thumbs down. An audible gasp on the Senate floor, and then commotion. Some Democrats can't contain their excitement. Senator Elizabeth Warren leans in to get a better look and breaks into applause. Senator Dianne Feinstein, a single assertive clap. Senator Sherrod Brown slams his hand on the desk in affirmation.
Yeah,
Some
we're happy.
Republicans, like Senator Marco Rubio, stare in disbelief.
Oh, you mean I
Senator
can't kill more Americans? I can't make my constituents needlessly die without health care? You mean what? You mean we're going to have to protect pre-existing conditions? Even though it doesn't make a few people at the top rich? How am I going to face my billionaire benefactors? What am I going to tell? I'll never get a billionaire to keep me as a pet now. It's just so, fuck you. And now they're like, we are the champions of your pre-existing conditions, protections. Hold on, I'm looking for something. It's just incredible, though.
Cassidy drops his head. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer turns and...
Oh, wah, wah. I can't kill Americans. Oh, damn. I'm hanging my head in shame. I can't send people to their cold early graves. Damn it. Even though me, myself, the three people I love the most, me, myself, and I, we have given ourselves the best health care for the rest of our lives. Our rotten, useless, wasted lives, being the pets of the rich. You mean my constituents will have their pre-existing conditions protected? Even though the executives in the health insurance racket won't be able to, I don't know, have a golden fucking faucet? Well, they can still have their golden faucets. And they still do. I mean, these fucking shameless Republicans.
I support forcing insurance companies to cover pre-existing conditions.
You do? Isn't that communism? Communism? She's a commie. Harris is a commie. I support. Could you imagine if Harris or any Democrat said anything like force private companies to do anything? I mean, excuse me. They're like I don't know. Did we get to the point? Well, during I probably won't play the rest of it, but in the debate when Walz is explaining healthcare because he knows what the fuck he's talking about, he's like, they destroyed the individual mandate. Now, oh, you like the mandate? He jumped on it. You like the mandate? Because they don't like the responsibilities. You know, they want all the benefits. They want the pre-existing conditions protections without any of the responsibilities. They want magic. Just like they want a authoritarian dictator to go booga, 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 and every brown person is white. There's no brown people anywhere. No gay people, no brown people, no trans people. Just beautiful white people like him. The beauty of somebody like this Skeletor-looking motherfucker is stunning. Right? But no brown people. Rick Scott, he's the one who had the largest Medicare fraud. See, that's what Republicans do. When he was running some kind of insurance racket, you know, not to help people, he was trying to kill people, you know, make money. How do you sleep at night? You know, that's your job. Making money, denying health care to your fellow human beings. You motherfuckers. But Rick Scott presided over the largest, most egregious Medicare fraud in American history. But, you know, he hates brown people too, so Republicans vote for him. But they believe him. We will always protect your pre-existing conditions. It's just so, aren't they real champs, these Republicans? You're real mighty American of you there, buddy.
I support forcing insurance companies to cover all pre-existing conditions.
I'm fighting to protect
Look at him. Who does he think he is? Does he think he's like some kind of Hollywood hunk? Elvis. I'm like Elvis. I'm a hunka burning protection of your pre-existing conditions. I also support overthrowing democracy and then running my ass like a little bitch from the mob.
All pre-existing conditions.
I'm fighting to protect pre-existing conditions.
Kevin Cramer voted
it's
for
so
guaranteed
fucking
coverage
annoying
for pre-existing conditions.
I'm taking on both
but
parties.
not the mandate. Not the mandate. Not the thing that actually makes the thing work. I am all for your pre-existing conditions protections, even though I've voted 60 fucking times to send them into you to hell on the backs of your sicknesses. Oh, yeah! Wee-hee! That's what you do when you have Damien. You have fucking Damien from The Omen as your VP candidate, and goddamn fucking Satan himself as your standard bearer. Well, who else could be Satan? You know, these people that are always like, the devil? The devil? Are you the devil? Look in the mirror, honey. These people don't need a fucking wall. They need a mirror. Look in the mirror.
Fighting for those with pre-existing conditions.
Everyone agrees.
I could tell. You're fighting. Oh, and Ted Cruz. Everyone agrees my wife is a dog.
Everyone agrees we're going to protect pre-existing conditions.
Everyone agrees. When? Since when? Since fucking when? Not since when Traitor Trump was squatting in the White House despite receiving fewer votes and you were all standing around yucking it up until John McCain came in and went thumbs down. Everyone agreed. Oh my God. I hate him. I hate Ted Cruz. Like there's no hate left.
Everyone agrees we're going to protect pre-existing conditions.
I'm committed to protecting people with pre-existing conditions.
I do protect folks with pre-existing conditions.
Do you really?
That is just absurd to think.
That's just absurd to think. Well, how do you protect them, fucker? When you're trying to overthrow the rule, the reg. That's regulation. Could you imagine? Harris said anything about forcing private companies to, I don't know, treat people like not just like hosts from which to suck profit and discard?
I wouldn't do that.
In Wisconsin, pre-existing conditions are covered.
Oh, him.
And as long
Remember him? Oh, fuck him. Oh, no. Walker. Walker calls for pre-existing condition guarantee. It's unreal. It's like Trump, Traitor Trump, and his goddamn, grift of the day.
Covered. And as long as I'm governor, they always will be.
Oh, they will. Everything else, you're gonna be fucked.
Will always protect Americans with pre-existing conditions.
Oh, no. It is so painful. And this is why the Democrats, stop with the, I agree. You have, get out there. I don't know. And fight like you're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity, because you are. You're on the right side. What's the problem with calling a lie a lie? No, that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. Why don't they ask him, what about the federal study that was coming that dove real deep? All right, guys, listen. There's so much more to do. Where's my little, you want to see Spooky? Hold on a second. Spookaruka. Hi, Spooky. Oh, my Spooky. Say hello to everybody. Hi, Spooky. Look how good he is. Look at Spooky. Hi, Spooky. You're famous. How you doing? All right, everybody. Listen. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let me see. I'll put him down. He's a good boy. You wanna hear him? Hi, Spookarook. Oh, he's not squeaking. All right, we'll go down. I'm sorry to bother you. My headphones. I interrupted his eating of a leaf. All right, guys, listen. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. It was great to see everybody. Thank you, John and Ed and Jim, for your super chats. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for everything, for always supporting the real liberal media and keeping the show going and growing. Thank you, Jim, as always, for being a moderator in the chat room. And everybody else, thank you, JD, for always supporting the show and everything else. And everyone else in the chat for hanging out. You guys are great. Where's Booty? Hi, Buddha. She's a good girl. All right, listen, guys. We will have a show on Friday. There's more to talk about. I gotta, I don't know. It is what it is. Sometimes I just feel like I gotta tighten it up, but I'll get better. We'll keep at it. All right, my friends. Tara Jr.'s trying to get back up here. All right. All right, crank yankers. My name is Tara Devlin. This is Tara Jr. Cranky. That's just how he talks. We're on the right side of history. We will win. We will win. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. All right, stop yelling at me. Thank you so much for hanging out. He yells at me all the time. I don't know. I fed him. You just ate like 2 hours ago. He's very demanding. He's a producer. Takes that kind of a personality. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you so much for hanging out. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Thank you, patrons. Thank you, everyone. And we stick together. We win. Come back on Friday night, 8:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell your friends, share the show, hang out, and all that. My name is Tara Devlin, and I will see you, God willing, on Friday night.